Everyone, welcome back. So today we are gonna solve one problem which is very simple, but it's the most important problem which is being discussed in today's any data analytics interviews. Let's look at the problem. So problem says that we have a table named as person which contains two columns, ID and email. ID is the primary key in this table. Now we need to write down a solution or a SQL query to find all the email IDs that are duplicated in this table. And email ID cannot be null as well in this case. Let's look at the example now. Here we have two rows for email ID a@b.com. So that represents that this email ID is duplicate email, and that should be included in our output. While there is one row for email c@d.com, and that represents that this email is unique in this table and it should not be included in our output. Now let's try to write down the SQL query. Wait, but before writing down the SQL query, let's think about the logic. So here, if somehow we can get the count of each email ID and that count is greater than 1, that means that email is present more than 1 times in this table, means it is duplicated email. And after that, if we can get one condition in our SQL query that if the email count of email is greater than 1, that means that email is duplicated email and we can include that email in our output. Let's try that now. So first do the select of email and count of email from table person, and since we are using the count, that is the aggregated function, we need to use the group by email. Okay, let's try to run this part of the code now and see how our output looks. Okay, so see, we got what we expected. We needed the count of each email ID and we got that. a@b.com, count for that is 2. c@d.com, count for that is 1. Count 1 represents the uniqueness of the email ID, and count greater than 1 represents the duplication of that particular email ID. Okay, now what do we need to include in our query? We need to exclude the unique emails. For that, we can use the having clause, and in having we can use count of email and it should be greater than 1. And since we need the email column in our output, we can delete this part, this count, from the select clause. And if you run the code again, see, we got the output that we expected. I hope the code is quite clear to you, but if you have any problem, do comment it out. Please hit the like button if you like the video and subscribe it for more.